What if I told you that magic isn't just fantasy? That hidden chambers exist, not beneath schools, but within your own potential, sealed away, waiting to be unlocked? In this episode, we dive deep into Harry Potter, a tajemná Komnata, not just as a children's tale, but as a coded manuscript about fear, identity, and the battle between truth and legacy. Because this book doesn't just tell a story, it whispers secrets, about courage when no one believes you, about speaking truth when it's dangerous, and about the terrifying power of what's hidden inside us all. And today, we're unsealing that power. By the end of this episode, you'll face a knowledge check designed to test your insight, elevate your memory, and unlock a magical upgrade in the way you think, feel, and act. Plus, there's a surprise tucked deep in the vaults of this podcast, one that only the truly curious will discover. So step into the shadows with us, because the Chamber of Secrets is about to open.
We all have those stories we think we know, like backwards and forwards, right? The ones that feel almost like old friends. But what happens when we really stop and look closely, even at the familiar bits?
Yeah, good question.
Today we're going to do just that with a story you probably know well. We're peeling back the layers on what might seem like a pretty standard beginning to a school year for a certain young wizard.
Exactly. We're taking a deep dive into the opening weeks of Harry Potter's second year at Hogwarts, drawing, directly from the narrative itself.
Right.
Our mission isn't just to retell the story, but to really get under the skin of these early events, explore the mysteries that are just sort of starting to bubble up.
Right. Even if you read it a dozen times, we want to focus on the little details, ask that question, so what's really going on here?
Yeah.
And see what fresh perspectives we might find.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's jump straight in. Harry's returned to the Dursleys after his first year. I mean, it's anything but a happy homecoming, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. The contrast is immediately striking after experiencing all the magic and, belonging of Hogwarts. He's just abruptly thrust back into the Dursleys' suffocatingly muggle world.
Yeah.
You think about those opening descriptions. Their outright cruelty, Dudley's entitlement, like demanding the frying pan.
Yeah, that bit.
It immediately reestablishes Harry's isolation, his precarious position. What do these early scenes tell us about the fundamental differences between these two worlds and Harry's place?
It really highlights the gap, doesn't it? And their reaction when Harry nearly uses magic, almost saying, please, it's so extreme. Dudley's performance, Petunia's shock, Vernon's fury.
It's almost absurd.
It is. But what do you think fuels that level of intense fear? Is it just like fear of the unknown or something more about their worldview?
Well, it seems to go beyond just, not liking magic. Their desperate need to appear normal for the Masons, Dudley having to admire Mr. Mason.
Right, the rehearsed lines.
Exactly. It speaks to this deep-seated anxiety about what people think and a fierce protection of their carefully built, magic-free reality. Harry, just by existing, threatens that fragile normalcy. His forced compliance just underscores his utter lack of power there.
And it's not just the Dursleys themselves. He's completely cut off from Ron and Hermione. No letters.
Nothing.
And his birthday just seems to pass, unnoticed. After finding real friends at Hogwarts, that silence must have been just awful. What impact do you think that isolation has on him right at the start?
Oh, it definitely amplifies his vulnerability. He's heading back into a world where he faced real danger last year, but now he feels abandoned by his friends and zero support from the Dursleys.
Yeah.
It makes him reliant on, whatever help might pop up from unexpected places, like those fleeting green eyes he sees in the hedge.
Ah, yeah, that detail.
It's a small thing, easy to miss, but it subtly hints that the magical world is trying to, intervene. And Dudley being cruel about the birthday just adds another layer of that neglect.
And then, almost summoned by that isolation, Dobby appears.
Bam.
Quite the entrance, yeah. Bat-like ears, those massive tennis ball eyes. He certainly makes an impression. And he confirms, yeah, he was the one in the hedge. What's your initial read on Dobby's sudden, dramatic arrival?
Dobby's appearance is a complete disruption. Total chaos agent, almost.
Yeah.
His frantic warnings, don't go back to Hogwarts, immediately signal that the relative safety of first year, gone.
Right. Something big and dangerous is coming.
Clearly. And his self-punishment, the head banging.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
It immediately tells us about the severe constraints and the ingrained obedience of house elves, raises questions about the ethics of it all, and how it shapes Dobby's desperate actions.
In his attempts to help, like levitating that pudding, They backfire spectacularly.
Oh, massively.
Good intentions, terrible consequences. What do you think motivates Dobby's drastic actions, even though they end up hurting Harry in the short term?
It comes from a deep, maybe misguided, but definitely deep desire to protect Harry. He operates within the limits of his enslaved life and, frankly, a limited understanding of the human world. His magic, though powerful, is often uncontrolled. It just causes chaos. That whole incident really highlights the dangers of magic used by people without proper training or, understanding.
Which leads directly to Harry basically being imprisoned by the Dursleys. Bars on the window, cat flap for food.
It's grim, a stark reminder of his pre-Hogwarts life.
And then the Ministry's warning letter about underground magic arrives. The timing is almost comically bad.
It's such a cruel irony, isn't it? He gets punished for magic he didn't even do, intentionally anyway. It just reinforces his feeling of being treated unfairly by both worlds, Muggle and magical.
Yeah.
Underscores how rigid the Ministry's laws are, how little nuance they apply in weird situations.
But just when things look totally bleak, the Weasleys arrive. In the flying Ford Anglia.
Talk about a rescue mission.
Seriously. The secrecy. Worrying about Mrs. Weasley finding out it's quite a dramatic intervention. What does this act of defiance tell us about the Weasleys and their bond with Harry?
Oh, it speaks volumes about their loyalty and their willingness to bend, maybe even break the rules for someone they care about. Ron, Fred, George. Their actions are a powerful rejection of the Dursleys' cruelty.
Absolutely.
And a clear sign that Harry belongs with them. The image of them literally tearing down the physical bars, metaphorical bars.
Yeah, powerful image.
Incredibly potent. And Ron's just casual, "We've come to take you home." That just sums up the warmth and acceptance Harry finds there.
And arriving at the Burrow is like stepping into a different universe entirely. The coldness of Privet Drive is just gone, replaced by this warm, chaotic, loving household.
Total shift.
Mrs. Weasley's immediate concern, that huge breakfast. What's the significance of all those little domestic details in contrasting Harry's two homes?
They really emphasize the fundamental differences, don't they? The Dursleys' sterile, emotionally empty house versus the Weasleys' vibrant, loving, slightly chaotic, but loving home. Mrs. Weasley's fussing, even her telling them off about the illegal flight, it comes from genuine affection, real concern for Harry. And the magical stuff at the Burrow, self-peeling potatoes, denoming.
The gnomes.
While it's totally normal for the Weasleys, it's still a source of wonder and comfort for Harry, reinforces his connection to the wizarding world.
Then Mr. Weasley gets home, looking worried, covered in dust, hints of trouble at the Ministry. It's a subtle introduction of bigger problems, isn't it?
Yeah, it broadens the scope. Suggests Dobby's warnings might be tied to wider issues in the wizarding community. Creates that sense of underlying tension, foreshadows dangers beyond just Harry and the Dursleys.
The trip to Diagon Alley with the Weasleys and Hermione feels like Harry's finally back where he belongs. Even just back to school shopping is full of magic.
Right.
Ron's excitement about the Chudley cannons, Percy eyeing up prefects who gain power. What do these little character moments add?
They add richness, depth, make the wizarding world feel real, lived in. Ron's passion for a terrible Quidditch team, Percy's ambition, they offer glimpses into everyday life for young wizards. Grounds the magic in something relatable.
But the atmosphere in Diagon Alley isn't all fun and games, is it?
Yeah.
That confrontation between Mr. Weasley and Lucius Malfoy at Flourish and Blots, it gets pretty tense. Those comments about blood purity.
Yeah, that's a key moment.
Why do you think that encounter happened so early on?
It introduces a central conflict for the whole year. That deep-seated prejudice against Muggleborns, the whole blood purity ideology. Lucius Malfoy's contempt for Arthur Weasley and his values really highlights the social division.
Foreshadows the danger.
Exactly, the danger that prejudice fuels. And then you have Lockhart, totally oblivious, signing books. It's such a stark contrast to that underlying tension. Adds a layer of absurdity.
Then comes the chaos at the station, platform 9 3/4 blocked.
Yeah.
And there's subsequent unauthorized flight to Hogwarts in the Fort Anglia.
Another rule-breaking adventure.
With some pretty amazing views, I bet. What's the significance of this second act of rebellion so early in the year?
Well, the fact they can't get through the barrier and then decide to fly, it underscores the extraordinary circumstances they're in. It's a direct result of Dobby's meddling, forcing them into riskier actions.
Right.
The flight itself, while dangerous, also gives that sense of freedom and wonder, contrasting with the confinement they've both just escaped.
The dramatic landing at Hogwarts, Snape's less than warm welcome.
Understatement.
Professor McGonagall being a bit more understanding, and then that howler for Ron. It's just a whirlwind of immediate consequences. What does that sequence tell us about Hogwarts power dynamics?
It reinforces the strict rules, especially where Snape's concerned. But McGonagall's reaction shows some empathy, suggests maybe a little flexibility in exceptional cases, and the howler is just a funny reminder of parents and consequences.
Once classes start, we meet Gilderoy Lockhart, who immediately establishes himself as well. Something else.
Yeah.
What's the initial impression Lockhart makes, and what purpose does his character serve?
Initial impression, extreme vanity, total self-promotion, seems way more interested in his fame than actually teaching anything useful.
Definitely.
His character serves a few purposes, comic relief, obviously, but more importantly, his incompetence in defense against the dark arts leaves a huge gap, leaves the students vulnerable.
Good point.
He also kind of satirizes that superficial side of fame, the danger of believing your own hype. And then Colin Creevey showing up highlights Harry's discomfort with his own fame, mirrored in Colin's relentless enthusiasm.
And Lockhart's defense class is, wow, that quiz about himself unleashing the Cornish pixies. It's almost slapstick.
It is. It's farcical.
What does that classroom chaos reveal about magical education at Hogwarts right then?
Raises serious questions, doesn't it, about standards, oversight, Dumbledore hiring him. The chaos really highlights the students' lack of real defense training, underscores the potential dangers they'll face. And Filch's reaction is just perfect Muggle exasperation at magical mess.
Harry's return to Quidditch practice is also marked by tension. The encounter with the Slytherin team, that rivalry seems deep. What does this first Quidditch interaction foreshadow?
Reinforces that intense, often nasty rivalry between Gryffindor and Slytherin. Especially Harry and Malfoy, it goes beyond the pitch, often reflects deeper ideological splits between the houses.
Yeah.
Ron's backfiring slug charm, while funny, kind of underlines his magical struggles compared to the Slytherins, fuels the bad blood, and Colin's still trying to get photos just highlights Harry's struggle with being famous. Hagrid hating Lockhart adds another voice of distrust.
Their detention with Lockhart leads to meeting nearly headless Nick, who mentions his upcoming Death Day party. Feels like a shift towards the ghostlier side of things.
Yeah, it brings the ghosts more into focus, foreshadows the eerie stuff to come. Nick's party hints at those supernatural elements that become really significant later.
And what an eerie party that is. The description. Ghostly guests, truly disgusting food. It creates this wonderfully unsettling vibe.
Yeah, fully memorable.
And then Peeves, being Peeves, annoys moaning Myrtle, a detail that seems minor then, but, well, what's the significance of putting Myrtle at this ghost party?
Placing Myrtle there, even just as a target for Peeves, puts her near the events about to happen. It subtly sets the stage for her connection to the chamber later without making it obvious right away.
And then the discovery. Mrs. Norris, petrified, hanging there below that terrifying message. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware.
Chilling.
This is the moment the tone really shifts, doesn't it? What's the immediate impact on the students, the atmosphere?
It completely shatters any sense of normalcy left over from the start of term, injects real fear, real suspicion into the school. The message itself, enemies of the air, immediately creates division. Who's the heir? Who are the enemies?
Right.
And Filch blaming Harry, while wrong, just shows the general unease, the rush to find someone to blame.
The questioning afterwards by Dumbledore, Snape, McGonagall puts Harry, Ron, and Hermione in a tough spot, trying to explain why they weren't at the feast. Snape's suspicion of Harry is just thick in the air.
Oh, yeah. Palpable.
What does that interrogation reveal about the staff relationships and biases?
And it really highlights Snape's deep-seated animosity towards Harry, like, regardless of any evidence. His immediate suspicion just underscores their history, his tendency to see the worst in Harry.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's more measured, suggests he's willing to consider other things. McGonagall's concern shows her protective side. And Ron remembering hearing about the chamber, maybe from Bill, that's the first solid clue. It's more than just a myth.
And their library research leads Hermione to the crucial discovery about the basilisk. Classic Hermione.
Absolutely. Testament to her intellect, her drive to find the truth.
In contrast, Professor Binns' incredibly dull lecture on the chamber. Right, but it actually provides vital history. What key info does Binns accidentally reveal?
Despite being incredibly boring, Binns reveals the origin story. The chamber's link to Salazar Slytherin, Slytherin's belief in blood purity. He explains Slytherin wanted to purge the school of Muggleborns, lays the groundwork for understanding the motive behind the attacks.
Then Colin Creevey gets petrified after the dueling club. That escalates the fear hugely, especially since he's Muggle-born. And the dueling club itself is pivotal, isn't it?
Huge turning point.
Snape snake, Harry accidentally speaking parseltongue. That moment shifts all the suspicion onto Harry. Why is parseltongue so significant, so immediately incriminating?
Well, parseltongue is rare, often feared, and historically linked to Salazar Slytherin himself. In this climate of fear about the heir of Slytherin, Harry suddenly showing this talent. It immediately connects him to the very person who supposedly built the chamber and unleashed the monster, plays right into existing fears about Slytherin's legacy.
Then Justin Finch-Fletchley, another Muggle-born, and even nearly headless Nick are found petrified.
A ghost, petrified.
Exactly. Yeah. It shows how dangerous this thing is. The mass exodus of students booking train tickets home for Christmas really shows the panic level. What's that say about Hogwarts' perceived safety?
Justin's attack reinforces the targeting of Muggle-borns, aligning with Slytherin's prejudice. Nick being attacked shows the basilisk's power is immense, even against ghosts. The students leaving en masse, it's a total breakdown of trust in the school's ability to protect them. Shows how severe the threat feels.
Desperate, the trio hatches the Polyjuice potion plan to infiltrate the Slytherin common room. Hermione getting Millicent Bulstrode's hair during the duel is key, though it has hairy consequences later.
Yeah.
What does this risky plan reveal about them? Their determination, their independence.
It showcases their resourcefulness, their bravery, their willingness to take huge risks to find the truth. Shows their growing agency, taking matters into their own hands when the adults seem stumped.
Their successful, though temporary, transformation into Crabbe and Goyle and getting into the Slytherin common room.
Yeah.
High-tension moment. Malfoy's spouting his usual prejudice, thinks Dumbledore's covering things up, but doesn't give them the clear answers they hoped for. What insights do they gain?
Well, Malfoy doesn't name the heir, no. But his comments confirm that whole blood purity ideology is driving the attacks. Solidifies the suspicion the culprit aligns with Slytherin's beliefs. His dismissal of Muggle-borns just reinforces the dangerous prejudice at the core of it all.
Hermione's unfortunate partial cat transformation adds a complication and some humor.
Poor Hermione.
And then Penelope Clearwater, a prefect, gets petrified. Shows the attacks are getting bolder, more indiscriminate maybe. What's the significance of a prefect being targeted?
Petrifying Penelope, someone respected, in authority. It shatters any last illusion of safety. Shows the attacker isn't just picking on vulnerable first years, but can harm even those in positions of, well, student authority.
The intensified security, Lucius Malfoy showing up with the governors to suspend Dumbledore, Hagrid's emotional departure. The school feels like it's falling apart.
Total disarray.
What impact does Dumbledore's removal have?
It's devastating for student morale, their sense of security. He's the most powerful wizard there. His removal creates a power vacuum, leaves everyone feeling even more vulnerable. And Lucius Malfoy's involvement highlights the politics, how the crisis is being exploited. Hagrid leaving removes a key ally for Harry and Ron.
But before Hagrid leaves, he gives them that cryptic clue. Follow the spiders.
Classic Hagrid.
Their dangerous trip into the Forbidden Forest to find Aragog. Terrifying, but crucial.
Yeah.
What does that act of trust from Hagrid mean?
It shows Hagrid's unwavering faith in them, even as he's being unfairly dismissed. It pushes them to take a dangerous step, venture into the unknown. Highlights their growing courage, their determination.
The encounter with Aragog and his family is certainly perilous.
Understatement of the year.
Aragog's backstory, denying he attacked students, warning about another creature in the castle, and that vital clue about the last victim being found in a bathroom. What stands out from that encounter?
Aragog's testimony, even if self-serving, clears him as the current attacker, confirms there's something else, something even more dangerous in the castle. His inability to name it adds mystery. But the bathroom detail, that's the vital link. Connects to Moaning Myrtle and 50 years ago.
That bathroom clue, realizing it connects to Moaning Myrtle. Huge breakthrough.
Ugh.
Finding her in her usual bathroom, hearing her story about seeing large yellow eyes. It finally connects the basilisk to that first death. How does Myrtle's tragic story shed light on the creature?
Myrtle's account confirms the gaze is lethal. Petrified by reflection, killed by direct eye contact. Those large yellow eyes become the key identifier for the basilisk. And the bathroom is the crucial link between past and present attacks.
And then finding the diary. Comarvola Riddle's diary. In Myrtle's bathroom. This ordinary-looking object turns out to be the key to everything.
The linchpin.
What's the initial significance of finding it?
It's a tangible link to the past. A personal artifact from someone at Hogwarts 50 years ago, offers a potential window into the chamber's first opening, the original culprit.
Harry interacting with the diary, seeing Riddle's memories, including him seemingly framing Hagrid, reveals a manipulated past, the injustice Hagrid suffered. What does the diary reveal about Riddle himself?
Reveals Riddle's manipulative nature, his desire to control the story. Showing Harry that carefully crafted memory, trying to blame Hagrid, shows his cunning, his willingness to deceive. Also highlights his own concern about the creature.
Ginny Weasley's increasingly strange behavior, her clear connection to the diary, gets more and more worrying, culminating in her being taken into the chamber. This raises the stakes dramatically, right?
Oh, hugely. Personal stakes now.
What's the significance of Ginny being the target?
Ginny's possession by the diary just underscores its insidious power, its ability to manipulate, control people. Her being taken into the chamber makes it personal for Harry and Ron, makes the rescue mission incredibly urgent, incredibly dangerous.
Lockhart's completely useless attempt to rescue Ginny.
Hilariously inept.
His confession of being a total fraud and that spectacularly backfired memory charm. It's darkly funny but revealing. What does Lockhart's exposure say about the wizarding world's fascination with fame?
It really satirizes their gullibility, doesn't it? Their obsession with celebrity, how someone so incompetent could get so famous. Highlights the superficiality, the danger of just trusting appearances. His failed charm ironically clears the path for Harry and Ron to face the real danger.
And so, Harry and Ron go down into the chamber. Ron gets trapped by the rockfall, leaving Harry totally alone to face whatever's next. How does that isolation ramp up the tension?
Ron, being trapped, forces Harry to face the basilisk and Riddle alone. Highlights his courage, his resilience, creates intense vulnerability, underscores the personal nature of his fight against Voldemort's influence.
Finding Ginny unconscious? Then that chilling reveal. Tom Marvolo Riddle rearranging to, "I am Lord Voldemort."
Goosebumps moment.
Truly shocking. His explanation draining Ginny's life force via the diary, his link to Slytherin, his twisted fascination with Harry surviving. It paints a terrifying picture. What's the significance of confronting Voldemort's past so directly?
It reveals the insidious nature of Voldemort's evil, how he can manipulate, exert influence, even when fragmented. The anagram confirms his identity, his enduring ambition. His fascination with Harry highlights that unique bond forged when the killing curse backfired.
The basilisk emerging from Slytherin's statue. Terrifying image. But then Fawkes arrives, blinds the basilisk. The Sorting Hat delivers the sword of Gryffindor. Pure magical intervention.
Right when needed most.
Harry killing the basilisk, destroying the diary, finally ends the immediate threat. What do those magical interventions symbolize?
Fawkes represents Dumbledore's guidance, Harry's inherent goodness being recognized. The sword appearing from the hat signifies Harry's true belonging, his embodiment of Gryffindor bravery. Destroying the diary with the fang doesn't just kill the monster, it weakens Voldemort's hold on the present.
The return to the surface, the reunion with Dumbledore, McGonagall, the relieved Weasleys. A moment of relief, the start of understanding everything. Dumbledore's reinstated, order restored somewhat. What key explanations does Dumbledore offer?
Dumbledore clarifies the Harry-Voldemort connection, explains how Voldemort accidentally transferred powers, like parseltongue. He emphasizes Harry's choice to be in Gryffindor, highlighting the values he truly holds. And freeing Dobby is a direct result of Harry's bravery and quick thinking.
And we even get that little glimpse of Percy's secret relationship with Penelope Clearwater.
Yeah, seems there are some secrets amidst the chaos. Adds a touch of normal teenage drama.
Finally, the end-of-year feast. Gryffindor wins the House Cup. The trio's bond is strong. Provides some resolution. Even though we know their adventures aren't over.
A moment to breathe.
But then Harry's return to the Dursleys brings us full circle, back to the start. Albeit with Harry having a much deeper understanding of himself, the dangers out there.
Yeah, the feast is relief, celebration. But going back to the Dursleys is that reminder of the ongoing challenges, the stark contrast between his two worlds.
So to recap, our deep dive into those first few weeks of second year showed us the terrifying opening of the chamber, the mysterious petrifications, the intense search for the heir, and that chilling confrontation with Voldemort's past through the diary.
Exactly. It really highlights how seemingly random incidents and small details like the diary can connect into a much bigger, much more sinister picture.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. What does this whole Chamber of Secrets incident reveal about, say, the nature of fear, prejudice, the power of the past, both in the wizarding world and maybe, reflecting stuff in our own?
Good question.
And for you, the listener, what seemingly ordinary things in your life might hold hidden connections or deeper meaning if you really stop to look? Something to think about.
Indeed. We definitely encourage you to revisit these early chapters with some of this in mind. You might be surprised by the layers you uncover this time around.
You've just walked through the darkest corridors of Hogwarts, but more importantly, through the deeper corridors of belief, bravery, and buried power. But here's the truth. J.K. Rowling encoded between every enchanted line. Magic lives in choices. And right now, your next move determines who you become. Ignore this knowledge and nothing changes. Embrace it and everything can. So don't leave this room with your chamber still closed. Subscribe now to unlock every future insight, every secret we uncover. Smash that like button if you believe in hidden potential. Check the links below for your magical tools, deep dives, and the secret path few ever follow. And now, the final test. The knowledge check, crafted to challenge your memory, awaken your awareness, and crown you among the few who truly understand the hidden meaning of magic. You've stepped into the chamber. Now prove you belong there.